This is episode number 174 of the Homeowner Show. Whether you're DIY or looking to hire, we're here to help you find the best information and options for you and your home. My name is Kevin Hackett, and here with me is Craig Williams.
Hello, and welcome to the Homeowner Show. We're so glad that you could join us for another episode of the Homeowner Show here from the Homeowner Show studios. How you doing, Kev?
Doing pretty good. Things are blissful.
Blissful.
You know, blissful.
It's a funny word.
Well, here's the thing. I did something tonight that I've never done before.
Okay.
That you were going to go, man, you should have done that a lot earlier. And it's pretty simple.
Okay.
And that is that I tried zoodles for the first time.
Zoodles? Like zucchini noodles?
Yeah, the ones.
They're great.
They're fantastic. So we've been trying to eat a little bit more, not just healthier, like just planning things out a little bit better, all those sorts of things, trying to, eat more fresh foods, fresh meats, those sorts of things. And so she had a really cool, anything you put, flank steak in, I'm going to be happy. So I love flank steak.
Okay.
And
I'm
so,
with you.
yeah, so marinated it for, 6-8 hours. And then, cooked it with some zoodles, and it was fantastic. I loved it, and I'm ready to try all the new zoodle things.
So no sauce?
No. So yes, there was a sauce.
Okay.
I don't know what the sauce was because she did it.
Okay.
But what's interesting is, it had a sauce that you added the marinade juice into, and then simmered that for a little while. Throw the zoodles in there to cook. And then put the steak in there. You got a meal. And it was super quick.
Oh yeah,
it was very quick.
So did you guys buy them pre-made?
We did, only because we've not gone all in yet because we've not tried it.
Yeah.
And Kimberly was just gonna borrow y'all's.
Okay, yeah.
But we didn't get to you fast enough, and she found those, and they were pre-made. We're like, look, let's just do that.
You can because you can buy them pre-made. They're way more expensive.
Yeah, it was one of those deals where it's like, let's just try it. They were frozen. Let's just try it, see if we like them.
Okay. I've not seen the frozen ones.
Yeah, they were just in a steamer bag or whatever. So I'm sure they weren't as good as fresh ones would have been, but it was okay. And I was like, if those are good, I'm sure if we actually had a spiralizer or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna try to take the plunge and check. It was good, man.
I recommend it to anybody, man, because you can make noodles out of all kinds of different vegetables.
Sure.
And it's not going to be the same.
No.
Noodles are better.
Sure.
Real noodles are better.
Sure.
Like, just own it.
Right.
But, it's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. We kind of had a little mini date night, and it was more like a business meeting, but we used the excuse to go spend time together.
Yeah.
But my kids had spaghetti tonight. But with zucchini noodles.
Okay, there you go.
And they love it.
Yeah, and we were talking about that. Actually, on the back of the bag that we bought, it said, pasta sauce and meatballs go well with this.
Super easy, low cal, low fat dinner. It's just really, and it's good. It tastes good. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. I need to get you this recipe because the marin, I don't even know what it was because she did all of it. I just cooked it. It was really good, man.
Yeah.
It was really good. So yeah.
And if I'll give some people out there some tips on this because I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
If you like Asian noodles, cucumber is a good substitute.
Interesting.
For the noodles.
Okay.
You can still use the zucchini ones. Mm-hmm. The cucumber ones just kind of have a little crisper, brighter,
different taste. Okay.
So they're good. So anyway, we're doing kind of a news story tonight, a news show tonight.
Yeah, y'all, this is some crazy stuff happening.
We had two crazy things happen just within the last week, and we thought it would be worthwhile to share with you guys because both of them have to do with homes.
Right.
And home ownership and all this. But one of them is a huge pebble thrown in the pond, made lots of waves across the internet. Mm-hmm. Actually, I sent you the show, or not the show. I sent you the link to the story.
Right.
I don't know if it was today
or
what, but anyway, like it was, I think it was like almost 2 or 3 hours later, Eric G posts the link to the show in his group off of his show. And I was talking with a couple people over there about it, and man, it's a big story.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, because it's a big story because of the people involved, right? I mean, let's just break it.
So, well, I mean, like, so look, before we do that, let's just, I mean, real quick, we're going to be talking about this story. This is involving Andy and Candace Meredith from over at the what is it, the Magnolia Network.
Yeah, so Magnolia,
and then we've got another story involving Tim Poole,
right?
Something that happened to him at his home,
right?
So we're gonna be talking about all that tonight.
Yes.
So, but let's get into this story from the Magnolia Network, because this is the big one of the night.
Right. Yeah. So if you didn't know, I mean, Chip and Joanna Gaines have been off of the HGTV network for a while because they've got their own network. Why wouldn't they? Yeah. If the Longhorns can have their own network, so can they.
Don't. That's a sore subject.
I know it is.
And it's
because you're an Aggie.
On national championship night?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I know, sorry.
People are triggered enough that their team ain't in the game.
So nobody's watching this. The game's on.
That's right. If you're listening to us, you're clearly not a football fan.
Well, or you're just watching this. You're listening to it later.
Doing like Kevin, just kind of got it off on a screen on the side.
That's right.
He's really not engaged with the show.
I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, they've got their own network, and so they're bringing other shows on, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's this new show that it's really kind of a really cool thing. I mean, so Candace and Andy Meredith, they transformed a school into a home for themselves.
Yes.
And kind of made a name for themselves doing it.
Yeah.
And so
it's a cool house.
And so if you haven't had a chance to go look at it, go look at it. Just Google their names and their
you'll find them on Instagram.
There you go. Yeah. And so they decided to do a show. I mean, they do remodeling, those sorts of things, just like Chip and Joanna, but they named the thing Homework.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. I mean, they transformed a school into a home. Homework, obviously, school, but it's a remodel.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, right? So that's kind of the backstory of how this came to be.
Right.
And Joanna was like, hey, let's get these people on. They started filming. They filmed a bunch of episodes. They've been filming for like 2-3 years, right?
I don't know
how
long.
It seems, because some of this stuff was like dated back to like 2019.
Yeah.
So I mean,
at least 2 years.
Okay. So 2 years that they've been filming, and that's just normal. I mean,
some of these projects take a long time,
right?
And so, like, and I think this is important to remember when you're watching some of these home improvement shows, and not to dog on them, but like they really, crunch down the time it takes to complete a project. I mean, there were those shows for a while where they're like, we can do this in 48 hours, which I just thought that was stupid. I mean, like, there's no way that stuff's going to last. But I mean, like, so you're seeing like a very condensed version of what actually was going on, right?
Right. Sure.
So who knows how long some of these projects were going on, but basically here's what happened is Chip and Joanna pulled the plug on this show.
Right.
And it was supposed to air like this week.
Yeah, I mean, it was coming out soon. I mean, yeah.
And I think the idea is like these guys were going to be kind of like a foundational piece of their new network. Right. They make stuff look really, really cool. Mm-hmm. They seem to have really good on camera personalities. I don't trust his haircut.
No, well, no, not with that beard. The haircut with that beard, no. I don't know.
He's got a funky haircut and a red beard. I mean, come on.
Hey, I don't have a haircut. That's for sure.
The distrust meter is off the charts. So
the beard's not in yet either. It's coming. It's coming.
So, but anyway, basically, there was 4 big complaints that came through.
Yeah.
About specific projects that they had done for the show.
Right.
And these people who had these projects done took to Instagram and were just unloading on this couple and saying that they'd been dishonest, that they, had not been communicating, that they'd gone way over, like, where projects were supposed to take $20,000, they're coming in saying, hey, you owe us $40,000.
Right.
At least, and again, like, we need to be really clear. We don't know.
No, this is just what the article is telling us.
Yes.
And we know that they're getting a lot of backlash. We know that they have pulled this. We're understanding the story as we know it to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, Chip and Joanna, they smell something, something ain't right.
Yeah, and not just that, like, they pulled it after the allegations were made. Sure, that's one thing, but I think they did some research first and then decided to pull it.
Right.
Right?
Well, and let's be honest. I doubt Chip and Joanna are doing much research.
No, they aren't.
They've
got their people.
They have a home improvement theme park. I mean, these people have teams of people to do research for them.
Yes.
Not to say that they are incapable of doing research, but look, come on. Like, they have agents, they have lawyers, they have people that are doing this stuff for them.
Right. And this was vetted before they just willy-nilly pulled something, right?
I would like to believe it wasn't willy-nilly. Could it have been willy-nilly? Absolutely.
Sure. But they've invested a lot of money into this.
Yes.
And because a couple of people, four people have decided to speak out against it. Now they're just going to willy-nilly pull it. I don't think that's the way this works.
Well, I mean, like, okay, like, have you really ever watched one of these shows where it's like a project that's a home improvement one, where at the end the person who had hired that person was unhappy?
No.
I mean, like, no, because that's not good TV. People want to see a good, happy person finished with a good, happy product. Mm-hmm. And so you can imagine that whatever it is that they had worked on, filming's already been done.
Oh, yeah.
And so these stories that they're going to be sharing on their show, Homework, they're going to be portraying these people as, this work was great. Everyone was happy. Look at how great this looked. Mm-hmm. And these people who are actually living in these situations are going to be, again, going to Instagram, going to Facebook, going to Twitter, going, what the hell?
Right.
Like, I'm not happy at all.
No, and that's, again, whether it's good TV or not, it's bad press.
Yeah.
And bad press is worse than good TV.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, even bad TV, bad press is worse than bad TV,
well,
right?
Like, even if it's good TV, if people, look, one of the reasons that Chip and Joanna have the reputation that they have is because I think a lot of people believe that they can trust them.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they believe that
they've given us years of that.
And people believe them to be good people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good.
That is part of
Christian,
their
honest, all of the things, right?
Yeah, all that. And so it's part of their brand.
Yeah.
And so for there to be any sort of hypocrisy happening on their brand new network.
No, thank you.
I can imagine them just putting the kibosh on it.
Yeah, and maybe so. Maybe they did. But when I read this article, it said something to the effect of, towards the end, something to the effect of, there were allegations made. After looking into it, we decided to pull it.
Yep.
So I feel like this was not just a hasty decision.
Yeah.
Well,
and so a couple, Andy and Candace, in the spirit of the internet, took to the internet and released a 7-page letter that they then posted on Instagram, which weird way to post a letter, but they have a lot of followers there.
Over 100,000. So I'd say they have a few followers over there.
I'm just saying, people aren't going to Instagram to read a letter.
No,
not anyway.
We are today.
I mean. We did the legwork for you, people. We went and read the stupid letter. All right.
So here's the letter. They basically said, look, there's always
two sides.
There's always two sides to a story.
Yeah.
And we're not going to sit here today and defend ourselves because we believe that would make it worse.
Well,
at the moment.
In that letter, they also owned up to a couple of things that had been alleged.
Sure.
That they had. Basically, they hadn't paid one of the contractors that they had hired, or that their general contractor had hired, and it was like reading the rap sheet of like a New York gangster, because it was like the couple refused to release the name of the general contractor that they used on any of their projects, and I get it, they're just trying not to sell them up the river, because they're just trying to take the heat on themselves, and good for them.
Sure.
But it's like Meredith ain't no snitches.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
snitches get stitches.
Stitches, yeah. I mean, because it's one of those deals where, I mean, you got to understand, these people are putting their name behind something, but they're doing it all over the country.
Right.
They're subcontracting out to people that live in that area, right? They're vetting the people, making sure they get the right people, all that kind of stuff. But the fact, I mean, Chip and Joanna were not doing all of the work on those jobs either, right? Chip was going in there and helping out with the tear out because he loved that.
Right.
Joanna was doing the design because she loved that, and then hiring other people to do the work.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, which is what lots of good contractors do.
And I don't know this for certain, but like just from the context of the article and the letter and different things that I saw, it looked like they almost work exclusively in Utah.
Well, that's where they're from,
right.
And so I would assume their home base was at least starting out there. So
yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that clued me into that is in their boring Instagram letter, they said that they always hire licensed contractors.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, so like that's something that because not every state requires contractors to have licenses, and
we would know that well.
Yeah,
because we live in one.
We live in one.
Yep.
So, which I know Eric absolutely is appalled by.
Yeah, he really is. He's like, what?
Yeah, we all survive.
Yeah.
Not all the houses are falling down.
Right.
But anyway, so I got the idea that they were trying to keep it local.
Mm-hmm.
Which also, I mean, that could actually be worse for them.
Oh yeah, because I mean, now that the show is pulled, they may be tanked.
It could be.
I mean,
this is their business. I mean, this is what they do. Right. I mean, like they go in and they remodel houses.
Right. And look, your reputation is everything.
Yeah.
I mean, your name is everything. Your brand recognition is everything. Now, you are on this national network that was a trusted network. Now you've been pulled. This is problematic for them.
But could you see how like it might be better if like they'd just gone and like done stuff in Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Because like on the national stage, like everyone's like, oh, those horrible people, they screwed those people in Indiana, and like you go back home to your hometown of Utah, everyone's like, yeah, but we know them, they're great.
Yeah, and again, if you go look at some of their work, it's really good.
Yeah. But like if they exclusively screwed over people in their community, like that's not going away.
No.
I mean, like you and I both know that Nextdoor and Facebook groups rule the market when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the minute you get a bad rap and like you get like 2 or 3 people who will just like dump post on you in some of these groups, you're done.
Oh yeah.
Like you're just not getting another job because I mean like it just takes one bad experience and one mouthy person to just ruin you.
Yeah. I mean and that's the thing is eventually enough press is bad press.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. I mean you can slough off 1 or 2
right
bad reviews.
But even if it's the same person, if they keep coming back up, again, your name recognition matters.
Yeah.
And if your name is associated with something that's poor, it's going to matter for that as well.
So and it does seem as if at least there's people out there who are willing to blindly or unblindly defend them. And it's good because I mean these people obviously need friends. I mean like this is a difficult situation. I mean like these people are being toasted on the national stage.
Yeah.
And and like at least based off the short amount of research that you and I did, I mean Chip and Joanna haven't said any statement of support for them or any sort of explanation for why they pulled the plug on this show.
Right.
So, but I mean like this is also the result of streaming culture right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because if this was on like you think back in the day, I mean like you couldn't just pull a show from a time slot. You had to fill that slot.
Oh yeah.
You need something at the 7 p.m. You need something at the 8 p.m. And
right.
So you couldn't really get away with pulling a show like this. But now because it's streaming platform, it's like just pull the show. Yeah.
So I actually a little tangent here.
Uh-huh.
My wife and I we just watched Being the Ricardos. Have you heard of this?
I know the Lucy and
yeah.
Yeah, it's what's her face?
Lucille Ball.
Well, and the gal that plays her.
Yeah, it's got
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she good?
She's good, but dude, and I don't remember his name at the moment. The guy that plays Ricky is just, he's outstanding.
Oh, okay.
Outstanding. Anyway, so it's kind of the story about a specific week in time during the life of Ricky and Lucille Ball. Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Ricky was his name on the show.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Anyway, so they start off the show, and it's like, look, today we have shows that come out, and they are knocking people off their feet, and they've got 14, 15, 16 million views. And people are going, man, we're doing really great. So you need to understand, when primetime TV hit for the I Love Lucy show, they were seeing 60 million people watching this.
Yeah.
So we think TV's big today. The life we live is very different because of the streaming world that we live in.
Yeah.
Right? Stuff that happens live, people watch it way later. They binge watch it, 3 months later, whatever. It's just a different era. So, yeah, you can just choose not to put something up, and no one's going to care.
Well, yeah.
They might be like, oh, nuts. But at the end of the day.
Well, I think why this is noticeable, I think this was something that people were really anticipating.
Oh, yeah. Because this was the kickoff of a brand new network.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
And look, this is another brand that they're putting their name behind. The Gaines' name is behind this, along with Magnolia Market, along with, all the things that they do.
Yeah.
This is a big deal.
Well, and there was, I need to see if I can pull it up.
And 2 years of filming has gone into this, right? Yeah. Most likely they don't just have a back pocket person. Okay, let's fill it with this person. We may be looking for another year before they start putting content out. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, and you have to imagine that, like, the cost benefit of them not airing it.
Oh.
Like they've made that calculation, right?
Sure.
So, like, they've decided that it's more valuable to their brand to not air this thing.
Right.
So, and like they've got, let's see what this says. Yeah, so this is kind of sad. So, like, they put up a post, and it's like the Magnolia Network, and like, the Candace or the Meredith's post was, "Can't believe we get to be a part of this." Magnolia Network launches today.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
So, but it looks like, it looks like they got a whole cast of characters doing this network. So, I imagine, that they're going to be, like, the network itself, I imagine, is going to be fine.
Oh, most likely. But here's the thing. You should go read some of these allegations. Again,
yeah, definitely go read the story for yourself.
Double the budget on some of them. One of them said they paid them in February 2020.
Yeah.
In September of 2020, they still had not begun the remodel.
Right.
Okay? So we're talking, what is that, 7-8 months? 7-8 months?
Yeah.
And nothing's happened. And so, there's a lot of these things. One person asked for a refund. They'd paid in $50,000, which was half. So it was a $100,000 remodel. They hadn't done the work. They decided to get a refund. And as of writing this article, which, again, over a year since that had happened, they had been paid $14,000 in refund.
Jeez.
So, now, that's what the article's saying.
Right.
We don't know. We're not getting this from the lawyers, right? But it doesn't matter if it's true. It's out there. It's what people are reading. They're going to assume it's true.
Yeah.
And this is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You kind of have to wonder if they're kind of going through their decision-making process at this point. Should we have spent more money to make these people happy in order to keep our TV show?
Yeah. It's possible.
Because, what's going to make you more in the long run?
Yeah. We're talking thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars here. So but
I don't want to incentivize people to be jerks to, prominent people in order to.
But we know that happens.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
People know that they can, they can crap on you online.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's extortion, but it is what it is.
Racketeering,
right? Yeah.
blackmail, whatever you want to call it.
All the things. Yeah. But still, I mean, it happens.
Well, the one that was more concerning to me were, and I think it was 2 instances where people had said that, they had good communication at the beginning, and there was a budget set.
Sure.
And said, don't worry about this. We never go over budget. And then in both those cases, it was, at least according to the customer, gone extravagantly over budget.
Yeah, and one of them said at the beginning, we had agreed on a $20,000 budget.
Right.
That's what we had said we would spend. They talked us into $25,000.
Right.
So now we're $5,000 over budget that we, that's a hefty amount over.
Yes.
And then they were saying we actually need something like
40.
Yeah, 39, 40. And so it's like, wait a minute. Double the budget that we originally started with. You pushed us past it to begin with. We're not okay with this.
But didn't, and then again, according to the person, said that wasn't communicated with them until the end.
Right.
When the project was completed.
Owed.
Yeah,
That's
and it was
like,
owed. This is not when you tell us this.
Right.
Like before you did the things that cost that much, like we should have been having a conversation.
Well, that's what Chip and Joanna did live on the show.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, hey, who's going to make the call? You or me? I'm going to make the call. Sorry, it's going to be $7,000 more for a new air conditioning system. What do you want us to do? Right? They did it live on the show, So you kind of expect a certain level of honesty, integrity, like professionalism.
Yeah.
And then you get something like that. And here's the thing, y'all. Again, we keep saying that, according to the article. But they said, look, we went and got our lawyers. And we went through the right channels, and nothing was happening. The only thing we knew to do was to go to the internet.
Right.
And here's where we're at.
So if you're interested in finding the article was written by somebody named Carrie Breen, and they did a good job because they reached out to all parties.
Yeah.
So they were able to talk, and at least from the article, it sounded like talk to Candace Meredith specifically, and then to I think 3 of the people that had filed complaints.
That's what I saw. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
it's interesting. I'm not saying that these people didn't do their homework, but at the same time, for you as a homeowner, I think it's very, very important that you know who you're paying.
Yeah.
I mean, don't just take someone's word for it. This is your home. I mean, one of the allegations was they put a deck on the end of my house, the Merediths. They put a deck on the end of my house, covered up a sprinkler system.
Oh, yeah.
And it caused a drainage issue that they then had to pay $19,000, I think it was, to get it fixed. And it's like, again, why did they do that? Who knows? But vet the people that you're hiring.
Yeah. Ask
for references and, just do your homework. It's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, and one of the other things that I remember reading was that the Merediths complained that the people were in the home while they were working, which slowed down the process.
Okay.
Well,
what are you supposed to do?
Well, I mean, sometimes people will stay someplace in order to, speed up the process.
Right.
Sometimes. You're not living in the house. But, I disagree with that, man. I mean, if I'm having somebody open up the walls and change things and do different, they were even talking, one of the complaints was they cut 2 doors and, that one door was going into the other door. You want to be there in order to notice the things that are going on, to address them early so that they don't become a more expensive problem further on down the road. So, I get it that you don't want somebody constantly looking over your shoulder. It's annoying. But, it's their house.
Yeah.
They need to be there and see what's going on. So, not only that, so, they don't have to make an awkward phone call.
No.
And say, it's going to be $7,000 for a new AC system. Okay, you can be there on site to make that call.
Sure.
And actually have a more in-depth and actually look at what they're talking about.
Right.
So.
Yep. Eric G's razzing us over here on he says, I'm just gonna put it up here. If you're gonna razz us, I'm gonna put it up. He said your studio has that Chip and Joanna walls. You should do a TV show.
We're qualified.
Yeah. That's what we were going for.
Kevin has the beard.
Well,
he can't have a haircut though.
It's coming in. No, I don't. The haircut's not happening, man. Sorry, not happening. But we got another story.
Yeah.
And I think we need to get to that one.
Absolutely.
So why don't you go ahead and jump into that one.
One of the news programs that I actually listen to is the Tim Poole IRL podcast. And for those of you that don't know who he is, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
doesn't really matter.
He's a journalist, he's a podcaster, he's a YouTuber, and a pretty successful one.
Right.
And he puts most of his content up on YouTube. They go live 5 nights a week. They usually have guests. So on January 6th, they had Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Okay.
Who's the congresswoman from Georgia.
Sure.
Do you know anything about her?
I'm taking your word for it.
Okay.
So,
she's kind of controversial.
Okay. Well, okay. Now I do know who you're talking about, yes, because some stuff has, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
Go ahead.
So they had her on the show January 5th.
Okay.
January 6th, which was the anniversary of the, what was it, the people that went into the Capitol.
Oh, yeah, the riots.
Yes.
The Capitol riots.
The Capitol riots.
That's the ones.
Yeah. So the very next day, they're doing a live show, and all of a sudden the cops come in the room.
Just barge into the room.
Live on YouTube.
Yeah, they're on the air. Cops walk in front of the camera.
Yes.
And
people are like, hey, the cops are here. And there's in the studio is actually a former cop.
Mm-hmm.
And he jokingly says, hey, did you all just get swatted?
Mm.
And the producer of the show gets on camera and said, yeah, we just got swatted. Tim then responds, how do you know? I'm getting messages from people downstairs. We just got swatted.
Mm.
Tim takes off his headphones, goes downstairs to talk to the police.
Right.
Because it wasn't just one cop.
It's multiple.
There's multiple cops in the house, as well as more cops out on the road and around the perimeter of the property.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know what swatting is, it's when someone makes a prank call to emergency services in order to get the police to go into your home.
Right.
And it basically means that they're getting the SWAT team to come in.
Yeah, this is not just a, hey, we heard there was a disturbance.
Yeah.
This is there is imminent danger. We have every right at this point because we have credible threat that something's happening. We have to step in.
And in this specific instance, someone had called the police and told them that 2 people had been shot and killed and another person was about to kill themselves.
Yeah.
So it was a murder-suicide situation.
Right.
So when the cops get to the house, and this is why we're talking about this, is because they do their show out of a house.
Right.
When they get to the house, the doormats say, come back with a warrant.
Yeah. That didn't stop them.
No. And the cops said, no, indigent circumstances, we have to go in the house.
Right.
We had a call, said that there was 2 people shot and killed, and that another person was about to commit suicide. People on the outside of the house said everything's fine, said, too bad, we got to go in.
Mm-hmm.
So they went through the whole house.
Man.
So, and why that's important is because, one, you need to understand that the police can do that.
Right.
And that's also why it's so dangerous for people to be making these stupid calls because, this actually turned out pretty well.
Well, yeah, because, one, you've got a guy.
When I say pretty well, nobody got hurt.
Right, because there's been plenty of instances where a cop walks in and someone shoots him.
Yes.
Right, it's something like that. Because you're a homeowner, you get to do that, right? Not exactly. But Tim Poole's got a good head on his shoulders. He does understand his rights. He does understand what being swatted is. He does understand the situations, and he was able to kind of diffuse it. Yeah. But still.
But right? I mean, if you watch anything that they do, it's a big house. There's lots of dark hallways. Mm-hmm. And so, you can imagine if somebody was, walking briskly down the hallway and the cop saw them and said, hey, stop. And that person, there's all sorts of circumstances that could have happened where this could have gone really, really bad.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's probably what the person who did it was intending.
They were hoping
that something bad would happen to them. Because people have been killed on these prank calls.
Yep.
And so, what ended up happening is, Tim goes downstairs and he's talking to the cops. He's like, look, I appreciate you guys. I respect you guys. But there's nothing happening here, and I'd really appreciate it if you just leave the property.
Right. At which point
they left.
Sure.
Because that's what they have to do.
Right.
But people need to be aware that, like, that can happen. Mm-hmm. And I think it's good to just have that in the back of your head, not to be scared, but to think through the situation, mm-hmm. And to walk through it in your mind and go, okay, if this happened, what would I do?
Right.
How would I be prepared? How would I be prepared to, like, address them, talk to them, and deal with the situation? Mm-hmm. Because we don't want anybody to get hurt.
No.
But like having someone come into your home uninvited mm-hmm. is one of the most violating things that can happen to
Absolutely.
you. And to watch it, and like it was. I was actually watching the show when it happened. It was bizarro.
Yeah.
I mean, and you could just tell how the temperature in the room completely changed.
Well, yeah.
Once it happened, and then how everybody was kind of shook up a little bit afterwards.
Yeah.
And there was like a mixture of like anger and fear and confusion and frustration, and it just messes with you.
Yeah, and look, if you're in a state like the one we're living in, I mean, we got a lot of guns around, y'all. I mean, I'm just, whether you believe that that's the way it should be or not, doesn't really matter in that instance.
Yeah.
If you believe that someone's entered your home shouldn't be there, you never know. I mean, you don't know people's circumstances, and so crazy stuff happens.
Yeah, man.
And look, we also know that we live in a weird world anyway.
Yeah.
And if people can make a prank call for this, they can prank call something else. And, again, I guess our point and the reason we bring this up, and yes, it is a shocking story in so many ways. But really, the reason we bring it up on our show tonight is we want you as a homeowner to understand the ramifications of owning a home.
Yeah.
And when you live in your home, just know that, yes, it's yours. Yes, you have rights. Yes, there are things that you possess because you own that home. It's a great responsibility, but you just need to be prepared in case something like this could happen.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Well, and like today, this is not something that's necessarily going to be odd or weird to have happen.
Right.
I mean, like, there's over 2 million podcasts in the world now. Mm-hmm. People are doing this out of their homes. Mm-hmm. These are not just happening exclusively in studios. More and more people are working from their home. And so people are just going to be in their homes more. And so it's going to become more and more important for people to understand their rights and how they own their home, like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because, the more that you're at home, the more it's more likely that you're going to have instances
to happen.
Yeah,
I wonder, this would be an interesting statistic to figure out, like, what is the number of home burglaries that happen today versus before the pandemic hit? Just because
I would imagine they've gone down.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
Because there's so many more people at home, and people aren't just barging into people's homes anymore.
Yeah.
I would think.
I would imagine, like, across the board, burglaries have gone down.
Yeah.
I would imagine they've gone down more in bigger cities. And in certain cities in particular, because I know that there's some of them that have said that we are no longer arresting for burglary. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes more appealing to rob from a store than it is from an individual, because they were saying if you rob from a store, if you steal, we're just not arresting you right now.
Right.
And I think that was like was it Seattle or Portland?
Yeah. Well,
it was one of those.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one, but anyway, they were basically incentivizing robbers and thieves.
Right.
Where like most stores have a policy to not engage with those guys anyway.
Yeah, just give them what they're asking for, let them leave.
Or even if you witness them doing it, just don't talk to them, don't call security, call the police, and just that's the end of it.
Right.
Now it's like, well, even if you call the police, they're not doing anything.
Nope.
So people can just walk in the store, grab what they want, and walk out.
Yep.
So I would imagine in places like that, burglaries in homes have gone way down.
Yeah, so But again, if a burglary happens and you're working from home, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately, I think this is a question that you need to be asking yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What is my protocol?
Yeah.
If someone enters my home, barges down, breaks a window, whatever it is, even if you just see someone walking your property that you don't know who it is, I mean, be careful because it could be the electric checker. But if you see someone that's not wearing a certain outfit to let you know that's why they're there,
yeah,
what are you going to do? I mean, again, it may just be as simple as calling 911.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be that simple.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, but making a plan, really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and know where your stuff's at.
Yeah. and how to get to it quickly.
How long does it take you to get there? How long does it take you to open that? How long?
That's right.
And I don't want to promote anything to anybody because I don't want people to feel like they have to do something.
Sure.
Like carry a gun, carry a knife, have a baseball bat,
what is your plan?
A stick. I don't know, whatever.
Right. But what is your plan?
What is your plan?
And whatever your plan is, how are you going to get to it?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do to employ it?
Yep.
All of those sorts of things. And we live in a pretty responsive age. I mean, the digital age is huge.
Yeah.
In fact, if you don't know this, and we've talked about it multiple times on our show, but if you don't know this, you can text 911. If you did not know that, please.
Yeah.
No, you can text 911 almost every place now.
That was one of the most revolutionary things I learned in our first year of doing podcasting.
Yeah. Well, it was early on whenever we had Chip Van Steenberg on our show, and he said we have just employed a new system where you can. That was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Where you can text 911.
Yeah.
Because for those of you wondering why this is such a big deal, I had never thought of it because if you're in a situation where you can't talk, or if you just don't want to talk.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that if someone hears me, I'm in trouble.
Exactly.
Right?
So, that was such a cool thing to learn. That, oh my gosh, if I'm having to hide for whatever reason and I need help, I can text 911.
It's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge. So, what's your plan? Have a plan. Carry out your plan only if you need to.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you never have to. I mean,
yeah.
Statistically speaking, you're probably not ever going to have to. But for those instances where you do, be prepared.
Yeah, and if you decide to text 911 and or call 911 with a fraudulent call, know that they've, at least in this Tim Poole case, they've already said we're already closing in on this person.
Yeah.
And it looks like, at least from what I'm hearing and reading, that these guys are going to be facing federal charges because it looks like the call was made from another state.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, at least, if you're going to be an idiot, be an idiot in your own state.
Yeah.
You won't have to go to the federal court.
Yeah.
Apparently the FBI is involved at this point.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
just look.
But that's what the FBI is for.
Don't make poor choices.
Interstate disputes.
Yep. It began. Do you know how it began? The FBI.
I think I've heard it before, but I don't remember.
So the Osage Indians are the reason the FBI began. There's a whole book about it.
There's
right. There's a TV show coming out about it, or a movie.
My wife read that book. That's right. Yeah.
What's really, really good. We know some people that are part of that tribe.
That's right.
And it's really, really interesting. So just a really, really brief story since we brought it up.
Yeah. Wasn't it didn't they eventually found out it was them?
Yeah. So
people within the tribe doing it?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think so. No, I may be wrong. I'm going to ask now since we know people.
Yeah.
But basically they were a very wealthy tribe.
Right.
And because they knew how to use their money, they were smart with it, and people they started dropping dead.
Right.
And they reached out to to local law enforcement, and I think it was the local law enforcement that was in on it, is what I think was the problem.
Oh, okay.
And so they couldn't they weren't really taking care of the problem because they were in on it. And so basically someone from outside had to come in and figure out what the problem was. And it wasn't the FBI at the moment, but that is what precipitated the FBI being formed was like, we need to have some sort of agency that can go in between states and take care of these investigations on big global levels, not global, on national levels. And so, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. But so I don't remember the name of the book, but it's the Osage Tribe Indians. You can find it.
Yeah.
By that.
Did you see Caroline jump in there?
Yeah.
Sorry, Caroline, we got a little bit off. We were doing a little bit more news ticker tonight.
Yeah.
We're covering the bomb that got dropped on the Magnolia Network, and then this thing that happened with Tim Poole last week. So.
Yeah, they've already been on it, right? With the Gaineses, Caroline and Eric G.
What do you mean?
They've already talked about this on their show, haven't they?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I thought he posted about it, if nothing else.
He posted right. the link to this story on his Facebook page, like right after you and I got done talking about it.
Okay.
So I know he's on it, and then he had another friend that was messaging me about it earlier today.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I'm sure he's all over it.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm sure he knows somebody over there that's.
He probably does.
Yeah.
He's Eric G. Y'all, he's connected.
Yeah. So anyway, let me grab this thing. So we actually do we're going to be doing an episode on this sometime soon.
Yeah.
So I got this.
That okay. You just got that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
Could you see that? Was that in shot?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's from Hippo, which is a home insurance company, but it's a smart home monitoring system. I'd actually be interested to hear from people if you guys have a home monitoring system. It's not like a security system. It's a home monitoring system.
Yeah.
And so it's supposed to monitor movement, water, alarms, and temperature in the house.
So how is that hooked? We're going to have to figure all this out.
Yeah, I got to install it. My insurance company, they just sent it to me in the mail.
That's crazy.
And they said in order to lock in your lower rates, you got to put this thing on your house.
Okay.
So I'm going to, look into see what the rate would be if I didn't put it in my house, because it kind of freaks me out a little bit. Because it's
like, you remember back, number of years ago where they did, cars, you would plug in the little thing to your system and
make sure you're driving safely.
Yeah, and if you were driving safely, you could save money on your car insurance.
Right.
This is kind of the same type of thing.
It seems
right?
like that's what that is, and it basically says install this thing so we can keep your rate where it's at.
Right.
So I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna plug it in, see what it connects to the Wi-Fi, and it's got like these little. Anyway, it's an interesting little bit of gadgetry for the home.
I love it.
That we're gonna be reviewing very, very soon, because my wife is telling me I have to put it in.
So now it's your job.
Now it's my job.
Well, guys, thanks for downloading today's episode. It's been interesting, and stay safe out there. And thanks for sticking with us. We've been doing this for a while now, but here's what we need from you guys. We need some ratings, some reviews, some followers on Facebook, Instagram, all of the platforms. Leave us a review. We would absolutely love that. We're here each and every Tuesday. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.
See ya.